No lie, after watching Akira Tozawa's performance on Raw, took a minute. But after watching Akira Tozawa's performance on Raw and seeing him do what he's capable of, but a lot of fans don't really know because they always have him dance and everything, um, it was really refreshing. Dude was even the cruiserweight champion. Um, I mean, he was briefly, but I don't know. I feel like in NXT and 205 Live, if you are if you're if you're a Japanese man, it's always been either you're there for comedic effect or you're just used to job out. I remember Shinsuke had this thing when he said, "I speak no English" to Renee Young, and then he went on to be a jobber and all that stuff. And then same thing with Akira Tozawa, even Funaki, and I'm and it's always been so, I don't know, disheartening. But um, Akira Tozawa was a special case because he was somebody, back in his adrenaline monster days when I was fascinated with him because I saw him in I believe he was in the CWC, but I've mainly watched him on 205 Live in NXT before he was brought up to be a ninja with Omos. Um, so sad. Man, Akira Tozawa has so much to offer, and the fact that people like wrestlers don't get any younger. So that's why I feel like when they get used so either stereotypically or used for comedic effect or they're just brought up just to not be used. I remember when Dijak Triple H he drafted no not it wasn't Triple H, it was WWE drafted Dijak, and then they never used him, let his contract expire, and he was out of the company. Dijak was over in NXT, so why not just leave him alone and let him do his thing on NXT? You mess with this man, draft him, have nothing for him, then let him go. Dijak, man, that was one of the biggest. Dijak is still one of the biggest fumbles of WWE, and it's upsetting. But this isn't about Dijak Fi. This is about Akira Tozawa. Alpha Academy, I don't know, man. I feel like Alpha Academy is a joke. Otis deserves a lot better. I feel like Otis, his thing that he had going on with Tucker Knight was great. Tucker Knight's retired now, but 10 years ago, Otis was on. He debuted in 2016. Otis Dozovic is one part of Heavy Machinery. Maxine and I don't know. I feel like American Alpha. What the hell? I feel like Alpha Academy, two different teams from two different times, but Alpha Academy had so much to offer, and then once they kind of just disbanded from Chad Gable, and he formed American Made, and then Alpha Academy slid down the card, and they just became a novel. They just became jobbers, and you know. Comedy acts, and Maxine went off to do her thing. Otis and Akira Tozawa not even used on TV for an eternity. Um, and then Akira Tozawa came back and he was able to showcase himself. And the part that upsets me is not because people were shocked that Akira Tozawa can still go in the ring or that he can go at all. The part that is disheartening as a day one Akira Tozawa fan is the fact that it's even a question. And that's not the fans' fault. That's the company's fault for not utilizing Akira Tozawa how he should have been from the start. It's upsetting. I feel like I don't know when you're a fan of somebody, when you're a fan of somebody's work, and then they get that WWE call, and then they're interested, WWE's interested, and then they're on the road, they're in WWE, and then they have their big shining star moment, and then they're on TV, and then they just somehow get worse and worse. Not the star, but the creative for the star. I saw the same thing with B. Priestley. Blair Davenport on SmackDown, Fabian Eichner, and Giovanni Vinci. Wesley, he didn't even make it, and that's not even anything on him because he's great. And then you'll have people say, "Well, to be fair, he was a mid carder on NXT, so it's not like he could even fit in on the main roster." That people are actually saying that, like, like the stars can book themselves, like he wasn't capable. One of the greatest North American champions to this day is Wesley, Desmond Xavier. So to see people be so brain dead and stupid and useless in society, and to make excuses for things that they know is wrong too, they just don't want to say it because hell, they probably want a job one day, so they'll just abandon all common sense and morals, and hopefully one day sell their souls and get all this financial status and financial gain, and hopefully be you know linking arms with people who they know they shouldn't be, just for validation and a few likes on social media. It is disgraceful to sit there and defend things that should never be defended, and then you have the same thought as the people who are telling you how they feel, and your first words are hating, reaching, negative, always complaining, never satisfied, never happy. You think the same thing though as the people who are fans of these people. But just because you possibly want a paycheck, you want sponsorships, free seats, hell, you even want to be you want your reaction, you want your bum ass reaction to be on an episode of Unreal or on Raw or SmackDown, abandoning all your morals. When you think the same thing because you're a fan and you care too, but you want to shill for the companies, the AEWs, the TNAs, the WWEs. It's eye opening. People in this space are wastes of space and oxygen, and I feel that once you really sell your soul and you shill and your opinion is the same as everyone else's, not because you agree. You don't agree, but you just saying this so you can possibly end up on TV with your reaction. Does your opinion really hold any value? I see people all the time who don't like what's going on as far as people's creative. And then the first thing they say is, they'll agree, they won't let you know that. And then they'll say, well, if you don't like it, don't watch. You're always complaining. Watch as a fan. If I don't have everything to say positive all the time, that means I'm being genuine. If I'm being genuine, that means I want to see some change. If I want to see some change, that means I care. If I care, that means I'm passionate. If I'm passionate, that means I'm a fan. You can't always sometimes they'll be bad and sometimes they'll be good. But when it gets to the point where anything that's true and that doesn't align to what you want it to be, it's seen as negative off the rip. And that right there, that's when it gets to the point of, well, either you're a brick wall, you're stupid, or you just really can't handle other people's opinions being opposite of yours. Because when I see Akira Tozawa all the time being reduced to a comedy act like Funaki was back in the day, or other Japanese stars that were just seen as laughing stocks, I just feel disheartened because I know what these people are capable of. I see them outside of WWE, and then once they get to WWE, they're either a comedy act or they're a jobber, or they'll be on top of the world, and then something happens to where things change, and then they're out of the company, or they're champion, or they're in a rivalry with the champion, and then they're just fired. Or the boss doesn't like them, the fans love them, we clamor for them to be on top of the company. The boss doesn't like them that much, and then they're being jobbed out for years at a time. The fans are and the boss, it's a whole all the politics in the world. I don't know, man. It's irritating seeing Akira Tozawa that people were acting like Akira Tozawa wasn't capable of doing what he was doing when he was taking out the New Day and the Creeds, and I'm like, Akira Tozawa has been wrestling for a long time, and since 2016, I've been following this man's career since he held the Cruiserweight Championship. Even before that. Because back in the day, they would have, well, not back in the day. Well, it is back in the day because but I'd say from late 2016 to early 2017 and so on, they would have, during commercial, they have the ring crew go out. And while I was on commercial, and they put purple tape on the ropes, and then they change out the ring mat, and then it said cruiserweight, and then they have the globes, and then they have the cruiserweight division have their time on Raw. Akira Tozawa was so good, bro, and I feel like, I don't know, the company has just worn this man down. Like they've given so much stereotypical garbage nonsense instead of just letting him be him. And it's always something that's bothered me. But people will defend it. Either because, they're not real fans who care, that like they just either have wrestling on as background noise or something. Like I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about those people who will just try to justify literally everything because they either want a paycheck one day, or they just, I don't know, that they just can't handle other people's opinions being, I don't know. But let me know what you think about what WWE has been doing with Akira Tozawa compared to what they used to do. Back when he would be the adrenaline monster and he would have the mouthpiece and he'd man, that was Akira Tozawa back when he was supposed, when he was allowed to be himself, man. I I just, if only people knew what he was capable of, man. I swear, Akira Tozawa, he would be so much bigger than he is now. But instead, he's just with Otis and reading out sponsorships and ads on every pay per view that has less than 5 matches. It really sucks, man. He even put out a tweet recently. It said, "I don't know how long I can. Yeah, I don't know how long my body can keep this up." And the fact that he's being given what he's given now, and he doesn't know how much time he has left. That's really heartbreaking. But let me know what you think down in the comments about what Akira Tozawa's trajectory has been, or what you like to see from him, or if you're just okay with him being in the spot that he is now. Everything's subjective, so if you do have a different opinion than me, I won't spaz on you and block your comment like other people. A lot of people just don't even read them anymore, or they'll, I don't know, man. You never get too big to interact with people who support you. Now, if there's millions, if there's like if there's 100 comments, I won't be able to get to them all. But just let me know how you feel about Akira Tozawa and how he's been used. Till next time.